Hello there. Welcome to my home, to my living room, to my studio. It is actually all the same because this is the room where I do most of my living, creating. My name is Boaz, and I've spent the last 4 decades building what I call a creative life. I'm so glad you joined me here again in my living room, in my studio. Today I want to talk about one of those terms that were overused in such an abusive manner that they actually really lost all the meaning. When I was working with clients, when I had my own company, when I was consulting, when I was art director, creative director, I have learned to understand what people are actually saying. Not what they are saying to me, but what they are actually saying. Now, the reason that you need to learn that skill of understanding what your clients are saying or what your boss is saying is the fact that they usually use code. They use code because they have no idea what they are talking about. So they use words and terms that they heard somewhere, that they were told were important, that they know should be part of the brief that you are giving as a designer, as an art director, as a consultant. The term that always makes me laugh is out of the box. We need you to think out of the box. We need you to design out of the box. Technically, this is not a bad term. This is a very useful term. If you understand what is the box, what is in the box, and what is outside the box. Most people don't. What you normally would think is that the box is what everybody does, the box is what everybody knows, and you have to think outside of this field, outside of this camp of thought, of knowledge, of attitude. Again, technically, this is a very good advice, very solid advice, unless you get it in every single brief that you have, and unless every other designer, every other creative, every other art director, creative director, animator, web designer, every other creative person got the same words from each and every client in his brief. I am not a genius, I am not very smart, but it seems to me that if everybody is out of the box, does that mean that the box doesn't exist? Does that mean that if you want to be special, you have to think inside the box? Because the whole idea is to be special, to be unique, to do something that was not done before, something that was not part of what is in the box. It is true that in the last phases of my career, I really lost all patience for clients. I still managed to keep what I wanted to say inside of my head, but there was very little respect left there. And it's not because I don't respect them as business people, that I don't respect them for what they do, for what they have achieved, but it is these small, idiotic terms that really get under my skin. You have to think outside of the box. Oh, thank you for telling me. No, because I thought of not thinking out of the box. I thought of doing the minimum possible, do what everybody else does, and get paid and go home. But now that you told me that I have to think out of the box, oh, now I will really try. Now I will do something special. Right? I often ended meetings, at least in my head, with the famous Brad Pitt, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" Now I will tell you what is in the box. Hard work, dedication, understanding of the subject material, understanding of the market audience. What is in the box is everything that was tried and proved to work. When a client tells you, "I want you to think outside of the box," they think that they are being brave. They think that they are doing something that is special, unique. The fact that actually what they are saying is, I want the same thing like last year but in blue, is the gap that you have to cross as a designer talking to a client, as an art director talking to your boss, as any creative person talking to someone who has no idea what they are talking about. I can tell you from my experience in many decades of working with clients, for clients, of working in big corporations and working with my own companies, very few people need to actually think outside of the box. Very few people need to be innovative. Very few businesses are innovative. Very few businesses get out of the rules of the business game and try to do something else. The businesses that actually do it are either extremely small ones that work on niche and then they have their own crowd and their own rules, or very big ones who make the rules for everybody else. If you are that company, what's the name, the one with the fruit on the logo that everybody seems to love for some reason, you know, the cult thing, mango, banana, I don't remember the name. If you are a company on this size, you make up the rules. Then you can be innovative. Then you can push the envelope. Because there's very little risk involved. You make your own rules. You're really too big to fail, as they say. When clients told me, think outside of the box, what they mean is, I want to wear this leather jacket to my board meeting. It is something that is idiotically infantile. It is something that is not effective in the real world, in the real business world. Nobody cares if you're cool. People care if you do your job, if you bring results. Nobody cares if you thought outside of the box. You are not paid to think outside the box, you are paid to bring results, to do your work. I don't think it's a bad idea to be different, to think differently, to try to find another way to do things. I built whole careers just on this concept. I'm just against the term. I'm just against the language that is used. Why? Because in the end it hurts all of us. When words start losing their meanings, what do you have left? If communication is based on codes that mean different things to different people, and are actually just part of playing around with society rules and trying to be something that you are not, what is the point? I know it might be a small personal peeve, it might be something that people will look and say, we don't even understand what you're talking about. Why does it disturb you? Why does it hurt you? Well, I did grow up on this, again, stupid notion that the client is always right. That is obviously as far from reality as can be. But I still have this mentality. This is why the cognitive dissonance is so big. Because you have to remind yourself that the client has to feel that he is right. But most of the time, he's as dumb as a doorbell. Really. And the times that he is not stupid, this is just not his field. A very successful manager of a biotech company should not have an opinion about how his internet site will look. He should not have an opinion on how his next advertising campaign will look. He should not even have any opinion about what the uniform of the worker should look like. Because that is not his job. He is not paid for that, he was not hired for that. He was hired to do a job, to bring results. The fact that the client is always right is still something that is valid means that as a creative, as a designer, as an art director, you always have to fight the client without him knowing you're fighting him. It's a kind of a political game, it's a kind of manipulation, it's a kind of, well, it's a lost battle a lot of times. I remember one of my most frustrating jobs that I had, and it wasn't even a big job, it was a small job. It was an internet site for a company that had, I think, 5 or 6 points of car rental in Milan. Now, their biggest competition were the big players, the ones that are everywhere, the ones that everybody knows. Now, if you can think of who is the biggest player in car rental, the color that will come in mind is red. This guy, his company logo, his offices, his uniforms, everything was blue, which was beautiful. If you want to stand apart from the competition and the competition is red, you do blue. When I gave him the sketches of the site, he did what every designer is afraid of. The terror, the horror that every designer or art director can ever front. The personal hell that we all have to visit once in a while. He showed it to his wife. His wife likes red. His wife thinks that red is energetic. His wife thinks that red is young. He needs to have an internet site that is red. I tried to talk to him. I really did. Your logo is blue. Your offices are blue. Your uniforms are blue. Your biggest competition is red. We are going to do a red internet site because your wife thinks that red is beautiful. I did it. I did it. I got paid. I'm not proud of it, but I did what I had to do. I'm not sure if this business is still alive, and this was 15, 16 years ago. I don't want to say that I hope that it doesn't exist anymore, but as somebody once said, I've never wished anybody to die, but I have read a lot of obituaries with a big smile. Think inside the box, think outside the box. It doesn't really matter. As long as you think, as long as you analyze, as long as you have some kind of rational reasoning to why you do the things you do, in your work, in your life, everywhere. Now, in the end, the only thing that I know to be true is this. Everything in this universe, and I do mean everything in this universe, is either a duck or not a duck. Think about it. Now, if you are like me, and chances are you're a bit like me because you're watching this video, if you are like me, the last couple of years were very frustrating. The last couple of years took a lot of energy out of you, a lot of your mental resources, a lot of your inner fortitude. If you are anything like me, the last couple of years just left you tired, maybe a little bit empty. But if you are like me, and again, I hope you're a little bit like me, you also understand that everything passes. You also understand that it is always darker before the dawn. You always understand that the flame that you have inside you is still strong enough, stronger than anything that the world can throw at you. Now again, I am not a motivational speaker. This is just to tell you that you're screwed. You're not going anywhere. We are here in this world, in this life, in this experience. We might as well make the best of it. It is not optimistic, it's not even pessimistic, it's just realistic. And this is the reason why the only advice that I can actually give you, the only advice that you should listen to is this. Just keep on keeping on. That is all. No matter what, just keep on keeping on. Hope to see you here next time. Until then,